Militarily Speaking, episode 37, The Unquiet Professional.
This episode, we talk with Krista Simpson Anderson, co-founder and president, The Unquiet Professional.
Welcome to Militarily Speaking, brought to you by Armed Forces Bank. This is Tom McLean, and this is Jodi Vickery.
Are you sure?
I don't. Oh, good one. Well, I don't even know what you do then.
Yeah, I don't either.
Do you work for this company anymore? All right. So I'm the regional military executive for Armed Forces Bank, and Jodi, wonderful Jodi, is the executive vice president, director of military consumer lending, and doing a little something else these days, but we don't need to go into all those things because that would be a whole bio in and of itself.
We don't. Nobody's going to care.
All right, so,
to be quite honest.
Well, all right, you can welcome us to the show.
All right. So again, welcome to our show. We're really excited to have you listening and learning today about our guest, Krista, with The Unquiet Professional. And Krista, I'm just going to take a few minutes and introduce you to our audience. We've had the chance to visit with you a little bit, but I want them to hear all about you, at least in a nutshell. So bear with me. This is all stuff you know. Krista Simpson Anderson is the proud wife of retired Green Beret Master Sergeant retired Gus Anderson and the Gold Star spouse of Green Beret Staff Sergeant Michael H. Simpson, who passed on 1 May 2013 from wounds sustained in an IED improvised explosive device attack in eastern Afghanistan. She's a mom of 2 boys, Michael and Gabriel.
11 and 13,
11
something
and
like
13.
That, right? Is that right?
Teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God love you. I'm in the same boat. I got a 14 and an 18. So
yeah, but
we can pray for each other.
You have one of each, please. Though. You get one of each.
A boy and a girl. Yeah.
And I had 2 girls in the teens. That was wonderful.
Wonderful.
2 boys can be wonderful and wild.
Yeah.
I bet.
I can assure you.
Loud and dirty and messy.
Yes.
Yeah. But my girl's the same way.
Are you digressing?
I am. Sorry. Krista believes tragedy does not need to end our story, but can provide the opportunity to create a new chapter with greater purpose. She lives this out through the many opportunities she's been given to make an impact in our community. Krista co-founded The Unquiet Professional in 2013. She serves as the surviving family liaison and board member for the Green Beret Foundation and serves on advisory boards for both Caliber Home Loans and USAA. Krista has participated in working groups with OSD and the Army addressing casualty reform. Krista is the founder of Brave Group, LLC, where she has built a team that operates with prudential wisdom. Her philosophy is arm yourselves and be brave, educate and empower to thrive, not just survive. Krista's mission is to help provide military families the tools to thrive in their ever-changing and challenging environments, and in doing this, she believes family and financial readiness is strengthened and a stronger force is created. Due to Krista's dedicated service to the military community, she was recognized as the 2018 Armed Forces Insurance Army Spouse of the Year and Overall Military Spouse of the Year, the 2019 Green Beret Foundation Keeper of the Brave, and noted in the top 17 changemakers to follow in 2021 by Military Influencer.
Wow.
Awesome accolades. Well-deserved,
they
well-earned.
keep coming.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, rightly so. So welcome, Krista, to our podcast. It's an honor to have you here today, and so we couldn't be more happy to share you with our audience. I always like to start by letting our guest just tell a little bit about the background of your organization. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in the overall mission, and then I'm confident that we'll dive into all sorts of details together.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. So, as you mentioned, of course, I'm the Gold Star spouse of Staff Sergeant Michael Harrison Simpson, and in 2013, he deployed with 1st Special Forces Group, Charlie Company, 4th Battalion, and about a month into that deployment is when he was out on a mission and was riding an ATV and hit a pressure plate improvised explosive device. And he lived for 5 days. So we were able to be with him in Germany before he passed. But during that time, the support that we received was just overwhelming from organizations and, of course, our first group families and, our blood family. And I think that in that moment, I just didn't really know how to thank everyone. And so we decided originally to have a fundraiser and then, let's start our own organization. And so really the Unquiet Professional was started out of grief and gratitude and a desire to carry on, the legacy of my husband and to give back to the very community that has continuously surrounded us with love and support all these years.
I can imagine that would be overwhelming. I mean, you want to say thank you and you want to respond to that, but there's a lot you're dealing with already besides trying to figure that out.
Thank you just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the USO, they carried my kids through the airport. They would meet me at the curb, take out their car seats, right? I mean, Michael and Gabriel were 3 and 1. And so I never really felt like I was traveling alone or, you know, walking, even though it did feel very lonely without my person.
Sure.
You know, you could be in a room with 1,000 people and still feel alone. But, you know, overall, I didn't feel like I was alone with all of the support, the love and support that we received at wherever we were.
Awesome. Krista, talk about the programs and services you offer since you've been at this a decade now, right?
Yes.
And so talk about some of the things you're doing. It seems like as we look at what your organization does, it just seems like you're tying yourself with all different wonderful programs. And I'm sure you're probably staying up late at night thinking about what other programs you can either invent or align yourself.
Do you sleep, Krista?
No, she doesn't. So again, we've got 4 hours for this episode. So if you want to talk about,
and I'm taking notes,
a couple of the programs, I think that'd be fantastic.
Well, I have a couple of amazing team members, Lauren Nakazono and Megan Harper. And Lauren is always the one who tells me, no, that's not in our lane. Like, come back on track.
We all need a Lauren in our lives.
We do.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think, you know, also, as you mentioned, that we provide, you know, healthy and empowering opportunities for military families and all military affiliated families, whether they're Gold Star and surviving families or active duty, Guard Reserve, retirees, veterans, and all branches. Some people think that because Mike was a Green Beret that we only serve special operations, and that's not true. He actually started in the Old Guard.
Very cool.
We live in Virginia now, so he was right here on Fort Myer, was his first assignment. So, you know, we really try to kind of meet people where they're at. So what is it that they need? And so we're always kind of changing and evolving through the years. And you're right. I think of something new and I go, oh, let's do that this year.
And then Lauren comes in and says,
Yeah. And then
Lauren says, what are you thinking?
Yeah. Stop thinking.
You need to meet Lauren.
She does help me try to bring it back around. Well, let's see if we can incorporate that this way. And so whether it's personal and professional or spiritual development for a military spouse, or it's casualty support, right? I connect with families. The same thing I do for Green Beret Foundation. I'll connect with the casualty assistance officer or the families to make sure that they know who to go to for their government benefits, and then also understand the non-governmental organizations and their resources and benefits outside of that. And so, because we know that our government can't necessarily endorse the NGOs out there.
Right.
There's many that are on Military One Source, but, you know, Angels of America's Fallen provides $1,000 per year per child for sports or coach or mentor-led, you know, activities. I mean, that's incredible, you know, for us, for our surviving families. So, and that's just one example of a resource, or, you know, Folds of Honor for the K through 12 scholarships, and Folded Flag Foundation as well, and Special Operations Warriors Foundation for K through 12 scholarships. So there's many, many resources that are available. And with that casualty support, I try to provide those. And then, you know, we partner with a lot of other organizations to try and provide just a healthy way to heal. And one of the things that I do also for military families, aside from the casualty support, right on the other side, and hopefully they don't experience it, but is that planning for the unexpected, the arm yourselves and be brave, right? Is, you know, just educating them on, you know, making sure their bank accounts have beneficiaries if they don't have both spouses on that account, and making sure that they have wills and powers of attorney. And really, I often say when I teach military spouses, would you just drop your children off at school and just not pick them back up again? I mean, some of them are like, well, I'd like to.
She didn't ask
teenagers.
Me. She did.
Yeah, that's right.
She didn't ask me. Don't ask me.
Yeah. I mean, do I want to or would I? Those are two
It's all in the
different
phrasing of the question.
Exactly. But, I mean, in the military community, we are so focused on if something happens to the service member.
Mhm.
But if I get into an accident on my way home from dropping my kids off at school and nobody knows for hours and hours because I can't speak, who's going to call? Who are they going to call? So I think it's really important to kind of plan that. And with our military families traveling, PCSing all over the world, the climate is different. You move to Florida, you're going to have to think of a hurricane.
Yep.
And what that emergency route is to get out of the state if you need to, or to get out of your area, for example. And what the resources are that are available to you, like the aid societies, if the hot water tank, breaks down, or if you have to travel home because one of your parents are ill, these aid societies provide emergency travel for that as well. So there's all sorts of things that we try and arm our military families with so that they can kind of sit back and lower the anxiety of this crazy, wild journey that we're on.
No, I think it can be a total maze.
Mm-hmm.
Should try I'm picturing like a corn maze right now where you get dumped into.
Yes.
And you're just trying to figure
That's
it
what
out.
life feels like, right?
And there's so many well-intentioned organizations, and you named a few that want to help, but it's how do people know? And if they don't know, how can they ask? And so.
Well, even for your kids, Military Child Education Coalition.
Yeah.
The standards are different from, say, Washington State to Virginia. And you could get here and you could have a senior in high school and they could say, you don't have enough credits or you don't have the right classes to graduate. What do? You call the experts at MSEC,
Yeah, well,
I have to
MSEC,
peel my kid off the ceiling.
MSEC was another organization. Andrea, of course, Dynaston from AMBA introduced us to you, and she can't speak enough great words about MSEC as well, the Child Education Coalition. So there are such wonderful organizations out there serving our military community, and you're one of them. By the way, Krista, you've been at JBLM and Meyer, right?
So we actually, when we came out here to Virginia, my husband was at Fort Belvoir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty close,
I
right?
personally lived at Fort Bragg, which is now Fort Liberty,
right,
and Joint Base Lewis McChord out in Washington, and then here outside of Fort Belvoir. Mm-hmm.
So you were circling Armed Forces Bank the whole time.
Yep.
That's why we finally got a connection.
We're like we're like a magnet for her.
We've got locations there. So yeah.
Well, and Tom mentioned you've been at this for a good period of time now, over 10 years. And I want to ask about what are your secrets to making this work? I think I can already hear some of what you're probably going to answer in your previous answers. And, I know that having literally lived in the shoes that they're walking in is no doubt sort of first and foremost among those things that make you be successful. But is there anything you'd add to that, or you'd share with our audience about how you and your team are able to do this so well for such an extended period of time?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, integrity is important to me, really important to me. And when you come to me for a resource or help, I want you to truly believe that you can trust me and that what I'm providing, I vet every organization that I refer people to. And so integrity is an expectation of myself and then also those that I work with. And so relationships are really, really important.
Yeah.
Maintaining those relationships, the trusting relationships, people I can trust, organizations I can trust, and vice versa. And that's, at the end of the day, it's non-negotiable. And sometimes that seems very black and white. And I get kind of upset. Well, but they only did this one thing. Well,
yeah.
What else aren't we seeing?
Yeah. Right. I'm okay with that being pretty black and white. So I support you in that.
Yeah. So I think that's probably, the short and sweet answer of that.
I like it.
It's good. Short and sweet is very good. I don't know if our audience has heard yet, but www.theunquietprofessional.org, right? And as we ask you some subsequent questions to a lot of what they can find and the resources that are out there and the commitment you've made to this organization, to the community. A wonderful website, wonderful designed website with a lot of great resources on it. So, but you also list a lot of your partners that are out there too. You've got some great partners, some formidable names, some very reputable names that you probably vet, just like you vet everything else that comes your way. you want to talk about how the partnerships have helped you along the way and advance the efforts of your organization?
We do a virtual memorial mile.
Just
which
happened,
actually
didn't
is
it? Did it just
It
happen?
did.
Yeah.
Yes. And, after COVID, it ended up being our only fundraiser. But it's not just a fundraiser. It is an opportunity. And this year, because it was the 10-year anniversary, we did honor Mike and Mike alone. I felt a little selfish about that, but I got some encouragement that no, it's
It's
not,
okay. Yeah.
it's okay to be selfish this year. But it's really to give the families a voice for them to be able to share their person's life, not just their death, and then also share, really with the world what they're doing to carry on their legacy, because we have these families. I mean, last year, Bethany McDonald and her husband, Gregory Trent, was with 3rd Special Forces Group, and he died in 2012. And what she does, she works for the Green Beret Foundation now, and she's a veteran service officer. I mean, she does amazing work, and also in her community and around Fort Liberty. I'm really getting used to that Fort Liberty.
It's starting to roll right off your tongue, because I met at
It's hard though. You've got to retrain your brain.
At my change of command ceremony today. The incoming garrison was from Fort Bragg, and I felt pretty cool because I asked him how Fort Liberty was, and
Do you like high
what?
he goes, "You mean Fort Bragg?" Yeah.
I was gonna ask if you
I've seen Fort Bragg alumni T-shirts out there, actually.
It's a collector's item. Yeah.
Nice. Did you high five yourself when you did that?
I did.
Good job, Tom.
I dropped the mic and I left. Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
And last year, we also honored Eddie Laredo, who was also killed in action. And his wife, Jennifer Ballou, is just, she has her own kind of coaching business that she does. She's a retired master sergeant. She actually was in part of the resiliency training for the Army. And she's done so much and just really contributed to our community. I could talk about them for forever. But so what we do is we partner with We Are the Mighty Military Families magazine for online and in-print articles. And then also Relentlessly Resilient, which is a podcast with Michelle and Jenny. And Jenny Taylor is a friend of mine. Her husband, Brent Taylor, was the sitting mayor of Ogden, Utah, when he was killed attached to a Ranger battalion, I believe it was. And they're out in Utah. They have 7 children. And the work that she does in his name is just incredible. So she does these podcasts for us to interview these families, to just really tell their story. And so that's truly what that is about. And then we have this year, Caliber Home Loans did 6 in-person walks, and they actually had 502 people register for our mile.
Wow.
Which was crazy. Through a dear friend of mine, of course, relationships are important.
Yeah.
Through Brittany Bacher, she led that charge on that. And then we were able to send out Hero Cards, which is an organization that has the families submit the picture and bio, and they create a card with the picture and a short bio on it. And you go to their website with a longer bio of fallen service members. And if you get a subscription, they will send you 12 new fallen service members every month. And it's really just to educate. They're trying to get them in schools. It's to educate just on the history and what Memorial Day is. And I always tell people Memorial Day is a day I want you to throw a party. I want you to have fun. I want you to gather your friends and your family and all the people that you love. And I just simply want you to reflect on what the day is and talk about it and say their names. But it's important to gather your people and love them.
Those, but the hero cards, the things that you've just mentioned, you rattle off a few different supporters out there. Are they out there on the website too? Is there a way to connect with those organizations and those initiatives? Yes. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. And then Danielle Sanchez with Marvelous Mouse Travel. She is actually our director of honorees. And so she puts a lot of work into sending them, getting their T-shirts, ready, and connecting with organizations that want to send these families different gifts, personalized gifts, and she sends those out. She's incredible. She's a military spouse as well.
It's almost like people are doing fundraisers for you without even you asking. They're just
on
doing it.
Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I see it come along, and what Facebook does is send you an email that says, "Oh, we've just sent you X amount of money." And I go, "Oh my goodness." And then I have to go back and kind of search for it. Unfortunately, I don't have the contact information to directly send them a thank you, which is the downside, I think, for me, because, definitely with the virtual Memorial Mile, I actually handwrite the notes, the thank you notes,
Oh,
and
that's
send
nice.
out, the hero card and the dog tag that we print for it and everything. So that's really important to me. But
Personal touch.
we just came back from one of our partners, our newest partner, Force Blue Team, and they do an ocean conservation school for surviving families or surviving children and children of wounded warriors. And it's Force Blue Team has two sides. There's the veteran side and then the kids side. And so for the veteran side, it's veteran combat divers that go out and they plant coral. They help with testing on sea turtles. They dive in and catch sea turtles. And so the scientists can test them and track them and stuff. Just so many incredible things that they do on the veteran side. And then they decided that they wanted to be able to give back to the kids and teach them and really kind of educate and grow the next generation of possibly marine biologists, right?
Yeah.
And so my kids actually participated last year and they went down as alumni this year. And we sponsor the program. And then we were able to get, for my children, Folded Flag Foundation actually sponsored my kids. And so the Unquiet Professional and Green Beret Foundation sponsored some other children. EOD Warrior Fund, Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation, and some other organizations sponsored some other children. So there were 12 kids that learned about, conservation, ocean conservation, and left with a open water junior dive certification from NAUI.
What a cool experience.
What's the frequency of that event? Is it annually?
Mm-hmm.
And kids can find out more about that too on the website?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Very good. Very good.
As you talked about studying sea turtles, I got to give a plug to my daughter, right? She went to Ghana for 30 days as a part of her school to study turtles.
Oh my goodness.
That would take me like 30 seconds.
To study turtles?
Just to study a turtle. Yeah, but it was cool. Yeah, it was about, because she's a biology teacher.
So if you were studying the motion of a turtle, they move kind of slow.
True.
So it'd take more than 30 seconds.
All right. Stop being so truthful about stuff. Yeah. All right.
I've thought about it clearly.
It's integrity, right? Yeah.
Right. The marine biologist that Force Blue has is one of them is Dr. Jay Wallace. He's just incredible. He wrote the book Blue Mind, and I would suggest it to anyone. And it really talks obviously about ocean conservation, but it talks about what the water does for you physically and mentally, right? Being around the water, in the water, and so on, and kind of where you can be. And how he said, there was one documentary he said that we're just trying to teach these kids how to just truly love themselves and be at peace. And that's the response that we're getting from these kids. And especially last week, they said, geez, it was so calming and it was peaceful and I didn't feel alone. And, all of these wonderful emotions that we want for our children, especially when they go through such traumatic experiences so young, whether it's the loss of a parent or, really the loss of a parent that they knew, because that parent comes back different, whether it's a physical or a mental injury. And so it was just beautiful to see them. And all the kids just were together. They wanted to sit in a round table together. They were following each other around, all week. And
that's awesome.
It was really, really beautiful. So we also partner with Reveille, which does some outdoor healing adventures for veterans.
Well, is that the Fresh Air program that you have?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
That's pretty cool too. Yeah. I'm on note-taking page number 19, just by
I know you can see
all this stuff that she keeps talking about, that it grows by the minute.
It does. It does. All good things. All good things. So with all of that going on, how do you come back and center yourself? I don't know if you have ways that you measure what you're doing as an organization, how you speak to the results of that as you're trying to bring on new partners or, new donors and things like that. How do you think about and share the results of the Unquiet Professional?
Right here, what we're doing, honestly.
Well, you're doing a great job of it.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I know sometimes I'm like just kind of rambling, but it's hard, I think, when we don't have one program that is doing the same thing over and over and over again. Because I feel really strongly about also not reinventing the wheel. I don't want to do something that someone else is doing. I want to feel passionate about what we're doing. And I want everyone who participates also to feel passionate about it. And so, because we're in so many different directions and we're meeting families right where they are, it's hard to measure that, except for the fact that every family we touch, we're impacting.
I have no doubt about that.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. And that's probably arguably the most important measurement of all. I mean, yeah.
And I think that's why we've stayed small for so long, is because it's just a few of us that do it. And, there's something to be said for large organizations, of course, but I wouldn't be able to handwrite notes to everyone or talk to every person that we help. So that's really important too. I'm not saying we don't need money. I'm not saying we don't need sponsors. But, there really is, I think, a beautiful benefit into being small.
Well, I mean, it goes right back to you talking about relationships being so important and at the core of it, not just with the families you serve, but the partners that you vet and you're invested in, and I'm sure they are in you as well. So very, very personalized.
Yeah, I think Krista qualifies as spokesperson of the year for a military nonprofit organization. But are there ways?
I'm going to add that to her bio.
Are there ways that you would suggest or recommend to the audience about how to get involved and support you, beside maybe going to the website and learning as much as they can about all the good work you do? But is there any other expectations or guidance you can give to people that want to reach out and support you?
Well, I would say use us as a resource, right? I call it like your resource toolbox.
Yep.
Call me if you have someone that is in need, or if you are, right? Many times it's not something that I actually fulfill, right? So they come to me if they need scholarships. I'm not going to give a scholarship because that's not my lane. There's so many other organizations, but we have a list of scholarships for people to access. I will help them. Folds of Honor scholarships, that application at times can be very overwhelming, especially because it's for families of the fallen as well as wounded. And so sometimes the questions don't feel like they apply to you. I always joke, one of the questions is like, what is your service member doing today? I'm always like, well, he's just hanging out in Arlington National Cemetery.
You gotta
he's on Overwatch,
You gotta look past those questions and just take a breath.
But when you're not expecting them, right? I want to help people, and I give them, that information. But I think, our greatest benefit is the relationships that we have, and never be afraid to ask, because, we received a request the other day for assistance, and really the Army's Survivor Outreach Service Program was the place they needed to be. And so I was able to connect them directly with the person that they needed, that was their advocate.
Right.
And so it might not be something that I'm fulfilling, but it might be. I guess I wouldn't say that I'm not competitive, but when it comes to making sure that people, walk away feeling whole, I'm definitely not. It's whoever can help them the best.
Yeah. Well said.
Most definitely. And it makes me think that, so a little bit circling back to the discussion we just had on how you measure success, I think that a way that you probably do are in the stories of the families that you touch. And, we certainly don't want you to share something here that isn't good to share, obviously, in a public forum. But are there any stories or a story that you would share that just emphasizes for you? It's one that comes to mind for you that you think of when you think, this is why I do what I do every day.
I know I shared about Force Blue, and that's really fresh in my mind because we just flew back yesterday. But their program is so special. I think especially for what I saw for my boys and what I've seen, because my kids got to see true warriors, but that were compassionate and respectful, right? And that were contributing to the world and not entitled and, and so just, it's very, very powerful. And two of the cadre is Roger Sparks and his son, Oz. And Oz is a special kid. He's 19 years old now. Last year, he dove for the first time with a full mask on, and he has cerebral palsy, and he has type 1 diabetes, and his dad was originally Marine Recon and then was a pararescue up in Alaska, which also is generally recovery, and received the Silver Star during a combat deployment. And Oz he's always happy. He is just full of joy. He's nonverbal, but really you know what he's saying. Mm-hmm. When he is making noises, you can have a conversation with him. My kids and all the kids got to learn that. They got to be around an individual that just exudes just this pure joy and happiness for life all the way around, and how important that was for them to experience that. And so this year, some friends of ours participated, and what the spouse said to me, a friend of mine, she said, "I'm so glad that you didn't take no for an answer." So they have one special needs child, and so they have 4 children altogether, and they all came down to Florida, and they were really nervous because with their special needs child, sometimes he makes a lot of noise, and sometimes, he does things and he kind of wanders, and they didn't want him to be a distraction, right? So a lot of times they've kept him isolated. Well, they said we could not believe how welcoming everybody was. And it completely, I think, changed their life and the way that they're going to look at things differently in the future. And I said, we've never felt so a part of a community as a whole family as we did. And so, that was it. I felt amazing. Like I could have kind of washed my hands and put it up, you know? And their son is 12 years old. So for 12 years, they've really been working hard to make sure other people don't feel like they are intruding, or, they don't want their son to make noise around, Right. And I said to them, I was like, Oz and Koa are made for this world. Yeah. And if people can't see that and understand that,
I think we'd all benefit from seeing that sort of unbridled joy.
And now these 12 kids, though,
I know,
will now go back out into the world, and they won't be afraid of these children. They won't be afraid to have conversations, even though words aren't coming back. It's just noises coming back, but they're not going to be afraid of that. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be welcoming.
I think heroes come in all different shapes and sizes too. When you talk about the kids and what they experienced, and taking those memories, finding those happy places when they're feeling blue. And it's just amazing that when people have to overcome an adversity that most people would just walk away from and say, I can't do that. It makes them stronger. It's like they find strength to overcome anything that's thrown their way, and they make it, and they make something out of it.
Mm-hmm. So to have Roger and Oz come in and then talk to Koa's parents and just say, these are the things that I've learned over the last 19 years with Oz, that you just have to get out there and do it. Don't be afraid of what people think or what they say. And I think it gave them the courage to do that. And then along with the rest of us to be able to come in and say, yes, you're welcome. Of course, you need to be with us. Come on. And Koa won the one person who truly exhibited blue mind, because when he got in the pool on one of the days, he was so happy. Mm-hmm. He was just laughing and splashing, and it was pure joy. And then all of a sudden you saw him completely calm, and he just floated on his back, and his dad was there with him. And it was just the most beautiful. Cool. Yeah. It's something that we all wish we could accomplish, right? So,
man, taken aback by these stories. But 5 years ago, you've again more recognition for you, and you're so humble that I'm sure you probably don't even know how to react when you get some of the awards that you get. But to get the prestigious award of overall military spouse of the year, I think and Army spouse of the year, right? Is that both happened at the same time through the Armed Forces Insurance Program? You probably know Lori Simmons. A
Yes.
couple of
She's
weeks
a dear
ago.
friend.
Yeah, we had
She's
Monica.
awesome.
We had Monica Bassett as one of our guests from
Oh, good. Yes.
from Stronghold. That you have your little club, right? Of
She's incredible.
of
The
spouse
work she's
winners.
doing.
Yeah, she is.
Yes.
So when you like
The ASIM Soy group is a force, I'll tell you.
like on Saturday Night Live when they wear that 5-year jacket or something. So
Yeah.
you can now wear a 5-year MSOY jacket. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But talk about what that did for you, or how it changed your life, or what kind of meaning it brought to the work that you're doing.
I stood on that stage when I received the award out here in DC, and it was the USO gala that night that they were honoring military spouses. So that's where it all happened. It's different every year. There's a luncheon sometimes, but it just so happened that the USO was honoring military spouses that year. So they combined. And I realized that it had been 5 years to the day that they had brought Mike's remains into Dover. And that I was receiving this award for things that I had done to heal from that. And how much I had learned, right? So I didn't feel like somebody should be giving me an award. I felt like I should be giving everybody else the award, right?
Yeah.
And so, we got to meet General and Mrs. Milley, which if you know them, I feel like you love them. There's no question. And he gave us the opportunity to move from JBLM out to Virginia. And that was the start, right? We moved from the house that Mike and I bought together. And then when Gus and I got married, he moved in with me and the boys. And then when we moved out here, we got a chance to then take another step forward and have a home that was ours, right? And start kind of the next chapter of our life. And I was able to sit on the Army's Survivor Advisory Working Group and some other working groups, within the Department of Defense, and really feel like I was using my testimony, my experiences, whether it were personal or from those that I had served over the years, for good. And there's our service dog right here. Her name is Hope. Come here. If she sits with me, she'll be okay. Come.
I see.
I know
We love Hope.
Well, you
gotta have Hope.
Our audience can't see Hope, but we can see Hope.
Yeah.
How cute. Oh, hi, Hope.
I think we're winding down though,
We've
aren't
met
we?
a lot of really awesome pets too on our
I know.
podcast days. Yes.
Do you remember the one that was snoring?
There was a snoring dog.
That was cool.
It was awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get that dog a
that's
CPAP.
hilarious. She snores for sure. I was never really an animal person until we got her, and she actually, Hope came from Labs for Liberty, which is another organization we support as well. But
And it is a service dog. Yeah.
mm-hmm. And we originally reached out to them for the boys, and my younger son Gabriel used to wake up angry every morning, and he would go to school and he would say, "People don't like me. I don't have any friends. I'm different. Nobody else's daddy died." And he'd be mad at Michael because Michael had more time with Mike, and he didn't have as many pictures with him as Michael did. And, just all these different emotions that you don't necessarily expect through life. And so then Joan, who runs Labs for Liberty, asked us a bunch of questions on, my husband and myself. And so she trained Hope to serve us all. And so every morning, Hope wakes up the boys by licking their faces. and he hasn't woken up angry since.
That's awesome.
And it completely changes his whole day.
Good job,
And
Hope.
has changed our whole family. I mean, she sleeps with my husband and I, which is something I
That's a big dog.
Yeah.
never expected to happen.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
Embrace it.
We have two chihuahuas in our bed every night, which is just
I'll put a plug in for Southeastern Guide Dogs. We sponsored a dog through them, and ended up being a guide dog for a visually impaired child of a fallen service member. They do such good work, those organizations.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, Krista, as we start to wind down our conversation, are there things that you always tell people about the organization, or you would really like to tell our audience today that we haven't thought to ask you?
Oh goodness, we've talked about a lot, haven't we?
I know. It's been fantastic.
The 30-second elevator speech,
I hate
Krista.
to not at least offer that up for you, though. I mean, we talked about the website, the unquietprofessional.org. We want our folks to go visit that. But is there anything else you'd add?
I think that one of the things that I noticed, now we had a 10-year kind of reunion, if you will, and celebration of Mike when we were in Washington State a couple weeks ago. And I think 100 people came, which I was so amazed. And of course, Mike's friends were like, "What do you mean you're surprised? Why wouldn't everybody be here?" But it had been 10 years and all of these people still showed up. And I think one of the things that I've learned over the years is that it's a two-way street. I always showed up for the change of commands and not just the Memorial Day ceremonies. And I wanted people to know that I was still there for them, even though Mike was gone, that I still wanted to help them as a community as much as they helped me. And so, for our survivors out there, I would say continue being engaged as much as you want to, as much as you feel comfortable with. I mean, frankly, it's probably not going to be comfortable, but that's that's where you get through, and that's where you get the most benefit, is when you work through that uncomfortable time. And for everyone else, don't be afraid to just say, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say," to somebody who has lost someone. It's better than saying nothing at all. And if it's been 20 years since you reached out, that's okay. You can still do it. If it's just, "Hey, I just wanted you to know," for example, for us, I received a note the other day. "I know it's been a long time. It's been about 8 years, but I just want you to know that I think about Mike and I think about you all every day." Or "Here's a funny story," or "I was remembering this the other day." It is always a gift, always a gift. And then also, I know we talked about planning for the unexpected, but that's so, so important, because I have worked with many, many families after the death of a loved one who are in just extreme chaos because they don't know who the mortgage is paid to. They can't get into accounts because they don't have the username and password, or, they can't access the banking because they're not on the account or they're not the beneficiary, and all of that. Or simply they don't know what their person would have wanted because they didn't plan their last wishes together. And so what are you going to leave the person or the people that you love?
Yeah.
Think about that, because in the end, you can't ask them, And so, and I think when we talked about mortality earlier, when you really kind of take that bull by the horns, if you will, you can just sit back and you can enjoy your life, because you know that no matter what happens to you, that your family will be taken care of, that you have done everything you can to ensure of that, and that going forward, you can just enjoy your time, your quality time together.
That's such good advice.
Wise words.
The world at large, yes. Yeah.
I love quotes. I love looking for stuff like that. And you're quote worthy, by the way. You've got a lot of good sound bites going on. But
Yeah.
I like when I read, when you have someone who died for you to live, I think it's really important to concentrate on the present and the future. And even the comments you made about the top 3 tips you would give to people, like finding strength in other spouses, focus on the big picture, and ask for help when needed too. It's sort of just get in the trenches and put your ego aside and just ask for help. I think that's great advice.
Right. There's one quote that I heard at a women's conference, I think about a year after Mike died. My dear friend Sarah Henderson dragged me kind of along, and I was reluctant, but boy, did it change my life. And this woman said, "There's nothing more beautiful than a community coming together and choosing you." And
I'm writing that one down too. Yeah.
That's what I've felt all these years. And that's what I want people we serve to feel. I want them to feel like they're chosen. that people are there and that we choose them. So
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I bet that they do.
I hope so.
Yeah,
Yes.
agreed.
Well, Krista, if you would be so kind as to hang with us for just a couple of more minutes. I think we have this endearing little thing that we do. We think it's endearing. It might not actually
that's
be.
a stretch. Yeah.
It might be super annoying. I don't know.
I doubt it.
This little thing we do at the end of our podcast called the Military Minute. So you can answer if you'd like, but you don't have to.
She probably would know this. It's
She probably-
the connection
this-
to Memorial Day.
Yeah, I think that she probably would.
All right, give it a
so
shot.
last week's Military Minute question was a military-focused one. We don't always do that. Sometimes we're pop culture kids. But what is the name of the poem that was the inspiration behind wearing red poppies on Memorial Day?
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
You're right. I should know this.
don't you hate that? And it's like right here. And as soon as
I can see it.
And
I can see the picture. I can see the.
When we tell you the answer, you'll say, "Oh yeah, that's it," and then
Yes.
we'll believe you, like you
I
actually knew
actually
that.
will believe her.
You will?
I
All
wouldn't
right.
believe you, but I would totally believe her.
I could have the wrong answer.
And it's something Fields. I know
yes,
it is.
yes.
Oh, it starts with an F.
2 more words. Should we do
I know,
it? Should
sounds
we do it?
like-
Yeah.
Wait, so 2 syllables sounds like. I'm
Yeah.
glad this is not a video conference.
I'm not gonna. I feel like I can. I'm gonna
Well,
get it wrong.
yeah,
But
well,
Landry.
Close. Flanders
In
Flanders Field. Yeah.
Yes,
That's it.
So if you are a listener and you answered that,
we
when
would have given it to her.
I
right?
would. I
Yeah.
would. It's not like Jeopardy where you have to be like precise
Yeah.
with it. I mean,
Ballpark. She's good.
we're gonna round it to the nearest consonant.
I always close my eyes when I hear that poem. It's so beautiful.
And you can
too.
picture
I
it,
can't
yeah.
believe I don't. Of course, I'm not one of those ones when you say, "Oh, who was in X movie?" I have zero idea.
And then you're
I'm
not going to
one.
like the next question, but none of us can answer the next question. So if you answered Flanders Field last week, watch for your name to be posted and you can win $50 for yourself and $50 for a charity of your choice. And for a chance to win that with this podcast, the Military Minute question is, nobody answer,
Including you, Krista.
can't answer. Who is the best-selling fiction author by estimated sales?
Of all time.
Did they keep track of sales then? I don't know.
Well, that was spoiler alert.
Oh,
I
spoiler.
wouldn't know that anyways.
Yeah, I
Okay.
for sure didn't know it. So watch for our podcast to drop. And if you know the answer or you have Googled the answer, feel free to comment and be potentially selected for $50 for you and $50 for a charity of your choice.
Hopefully that charity of choice makes a slam dunk for me. It's the Unquiet
Yes,
Professional.
I think I know where to direct those funds today.
So if you enjoyed today's episode, go out to afbank.com, subscribe to the show. Also, make sure to rate us or leave us a comment on your favorite platform, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we're almost coming up on an anniversary of YouTube. But
Maybe, yeah.
we now have YouTube added as a place to go and listen to these wonderful podcasts. This was an awesome episode.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here with us today. It's been our treat.
Thank you so much for having me.
Copyright 2022 Armed Forces Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All non-Armed Forces Bank owned apps, websites, company names, and product names are trademarks or registered trademarks of their respective owners. Their mention does not imply any affiliation with or endorsement by Armed Forces Bank of them or their products and services. They are merely used as examples of the many available apps, companies, and websites that offer similar services. Before using any app or website, you should carefully review the terms of use, data collection, and privacy policy. Apps may have an initial cost or in-application purchase features. This information is general in nature and is not intended to be legal, tax, or financial advice. Although Armed Forces Bank believes this information to be accurate, it cannot ensure that it could change. Statements or opinions of individuals referenced herein are their own, not Armed Forces Bank. Consult an appropriate professional concerning your specific situation and respective governing bodies for applicable laws, such as IRS.gov for current tax law. Armed Forces Bank, the Armed Forces Bank logo, and the Militarily Speaking logo are registered trademarks of Armed Forces Bank.